I'm telling you this from experience because I have been someone who has seen red flag after red flag after red flag and kept walking.
Damn. Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose and let's get straight into my dating red flags. One of the biggest things would be ignoring the signs that you guys are not compatible. And compatibility can be in so many different things. It can be when it comes to personal values. It can be religion. It can be career. It can be lifestyles. If you're somebody who wants to travel the world and be away from home a lot, maybe being with someone who has never left the country and never plans on leaving the country isn't going to be a good fit. If you guys aren't on the same or similar pages, trust me, it is not gonna work out. And I've been there. I've overlooked serious incompatibilities where in the long run there were bound to be some issues, and guess what happened? There were issues. So ignoring them, it doesn't make it go away. If anything, it just wastes both of your time, because now you guys have invested in each other and it makes it harder to end things. Next we have communication. This one has some layers, okay? If you can go a day without texting me, that's a red flag. Why? Because it takes 30 seconds to send a text message. It takes 30 seconds. If you're gonna be busy, it takes less than a minute to say, hey, today's gonna be a busy day for me. I'll text you as soon as I can. And the fact that you can't even take the time to do that shows me that you don't prioritize me enough, you don't care about me enough, you don't like me enough to communicate with me. And if you're doing this in the early stages, who knows what's gonna happen in the long run? And believe me, I've been there. I've been the person who has been constantly communicating, constantly reaching out, always sending messages like, hey, or I noticed that, maybe it's been a day. Look, the standards have shifted. But in the past, yeah, there were times where someone would go like 2-3 days without sending me a message, and it was like I was reminding them like, hey, I'm still here. When you've healed, there are just things that will not slide. There are just things that can no longer work. And that's one of them. Then we have imbalanced communication. Yeah, if I'm looking at the chat, like I said, that example I gave about me always being the one to reach out, if I'm looking at our conversations and my chats are thicker than yours, like they're not even at the same level, the same size, yes, it's getting that deep, that is a red flag for me. Because you should be as curious about me as I am about you. I should not be interviewing you. I shouldn't be. And that's another thing. If you feel like you're interviewing the person, if you feel like you're asking all the questions, you can tell when somebody is engaging in conversation. You can tell when it's a back and forth. And if that's not happening, red flag. Another thing when it comes to communication is when they don't stick to their word. For example, if they're like, okay, today's been really busy, can I call you tomorrow at 3? And they don't call you, red flag. That shows a lack of commitment. They can't stick to their word. I have a very limited amount of excuses that I will accept, especially in the early stages. Another thing is when they can't really express their emotions. If at the early stages they aren't able to talk about how they feel, that shows that they may be emotionally closed off. That shows that they may be emotionally unavailable. And that's not really the foundation for a solid relationship. And so that's definitely a red flag. Everything that happens in the early stages needs to be watched, needs to be observed. Like, you need to be observing their actions, because those things will manifest itself into the relationship in a way that is amplified. Another reason why it's so important to be watching out for red flags is because have you ever heard a story where somebody was talking about a relationship that they were in and how things were so perfect in the beginning and later on they turned out to be a completely different person? One thing I always noticed them say is there were signs that I just ignored. There were things that I missed. I should have paid more attention when they did this. My gut was telling me that this was wrong or something wasn't right, but I just ignored it. Your intuition is going to be one of the things that guides you the most while you're navigating the dating space. Your intuition. If you feel like something is not right from the beginning, you have to walk away. It doesn't matter how fine that person is. It doesn't matter what, like, how much of a catch they are, or how much on the same page you are about these other things. If you have that feeling, you have that feeling for a reason. If you see signs, if you see red flags, even if they're the smallest of flags, you have seen them for a reason. It is important to walk away as soon as you see them. And I'm telling you this from experience, because I have been someone who has seen red flag after red flag after red flag and kept walking. And guess what? It never, ever ended well for me. Ever. Ever. So now, the way that I operate, when I see a red flag, I'm not even walking. I'm running. I'm running. Yo, it's not even funny. It's not even funny, because I have been traumatized. I've had to heal so much. Like, I need to protect my heart. And I know I'm kind of ranting now, but I'm being serious. Red flags are always present. In my opinion, I know this is gonna be controversial. Red flags are always present. Yes, there are some people that know how to just mold themselves into who you want them to be, and da 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 da. I know, but signs are always there, even if they're tiny, even if it's a tiny discrepancy, a tiny piece of the puzzle that just doesn't fit. I believe that there are always signs. I think about my past experience. There were always signs. I just ignored them. And that's why I believe that there are always signs, because in every single situation there's been a warning sign. Whether there was a big area in which we were not compatible, but we both liked emotions, that we lost sight of logic. Like, hey, I like you, but this isn't gonna work. I like you, but these things don't align. And so, yeah, this is me ranting right now, but I just wanted to share this because I've gone through these things so that you don't have to. Literally. And the dating world is crazy. It's crazy right now. Another really important thing is establishing your own personal values. Like, first off, you need to know what matters to you in a relationship. What do you want out of a relationship? How serious or not do you want your relationship to be? You have to have that inner checklist. You have to know what it is that you want, so that when you meet people who don't align with what you want, it's just so easy, because you can spot it right away, because your personal values are so high. They matter so much to you. They're in your head, they're ingrained in your brain, to the point where if it's not a match, it's a pass. Another thing when it comes to spotting red flags is having self-control to not engage when you guys are not compatible. It takes strength, especially if you do like them, especially if you have a vibe. Maybe there's a lot of chemistry there, and you think, wow, there's something about this person. To be able to end things, or to be able to disengage when you know that things aren't right, takes a lot of self-control and restraint. I have a lot to say when it comes to relationships. I have a lot to say. So let me know if you want to follow up, because I could be here for a minute. Don't forget to leave a comment, because you never know who you could inspire. I'll see you in my next video.
Damn.